Okay, we'll talk about that. Mark Rogers TV talking college football. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel right here for the very best conversation, discussion, and debate with the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the industry. So tonight we've got Danielle Alvari on the line. You can catch her on Bruins Report online, and you actually have a new show that I just learned about like 5 seconds ago, Danielle.
Yeah, a new UCLA coming out. It's gonna hold off on announcing it, but yeah, it is gonna be like a UCLA specific show. So
oh, very cool.
Very exciting.
So does this mean we no longer get to see the charming, witty, very clever 2-minute warnings?
Well, this will be charming and clever, but
okay.
Yes, 2-minute warning. You can only appreciate it once it's gone, obviously. So
okay. So there will be classic archives at some point on your website of 2-minute warnings. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Very good. This is good stuff. So I caught on Danielle's Twitter a week ago or so, and I love this debate because it goes back to UCF winning all its games and claiming a national championship. And Danielle writes, very witty and clever, as I have prefaced here, UCF is the bachelor contestant who didn't get proposed to, so she just made her own ring.
Yeah, get it, girl.
So is this just a great line that you just couldn't resist, or do you actually believe this?
Well, first of all, I made the comment because I always people comparing this, like the sporting world to The Bachelor, and I don't anymore. I watched it when it first started. I don't watch it now. Like even Sarah Spain will like tweet about it, and so I don't keep up with it. So I was like, you know what? I can finally do a Bachelor tweet because I'm going on with it. But I was like, this is what this feels like. It's The Bachelorette. But yeah, I mean, it's curious that they made their own ring, especially so far after the fact. I mean, all of this, it was funny when it happened in January and February, but then all of a sudden in April, it's like, hey, we got rings. And I'm like, all right, now you've taken it far.
Well, the teams don't typically get their rings like right after they win the championship. It does take a bit of time to design and send off to the jeweler and so forth, right?
Sure, but teams don't usually get rings for championships they didn't win either. So.
Okay, we know that college football is a lot different than any other sport, right? We do know this, Danielle, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the best.
Well, it's great. Oh, I am a college football junkie. That's all I talk about here, but we don't have the best way of deciding who the champion is.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Not like March Madness where you can have 64 teams get in, or even 68.
So I understand the Central Florida claim. Do you at least understand it? Maybe you don't support it, but do you understand it?
I mean, yeah, it's pretty straightforward as to why they do what they did. And it was funny originally when it was a joke, but now it's just like, okay. Like, I mean, I think he said it best. He's like, it doesn't mean anything to anyone but them. So I'm like, okay, it's probably true.
So the more we continue the conversation, the more I'm going to expect to receive comments to me that Central Florida is now the best team in the country, Mark. You've lost it. You're clueless. I am not claiming that Central Florida is the best team in the country. I just support their right to go out and say, we won the national championship. We're the only team that won all of its games. What else were we supposed to do? And we did everything we possibly could. And we are claiming ourselves as national champion.
I mean, there are things they can do. They can play in their out of conference games that are more difficult. And people will complain that Alabama doesn't particularly difficult teams in their out of conference. I mean, I think they've had 2 away out of conference games in like how many years, who even knows? And so they don't have a particularly out of conference schedule, but that's because they're the difficult teams. They're the ones that people are playing in their out of conference games. So they don't need to make their conference harder than it is.
Well, yeah, unlike a ton of people out there that jump on Alabama in particular because they play Mercer the week before they play Auburn, I don't do that because they play a legitimate schedule in the conference. So they play 8 tough games. And then they usually tack on a Florida State or somebody else just because they don't like to travel outside the region and refuse to play anybody on the road. That is a problem.
Yeah.
But the thing with Central Florida, I just think their argument is so beautiful this year. So this argument that they have, it's much different. Okay, Danielle, you got to follow me here. It's different than, let's say, what we've seen in the last 10 years. We've seen Boise State, and we've seen other teams like that, Houston, until they lost late. That Boise State's a great example, winning all its games. TCU did it. They won the Rose Bowl against Wisconsin. The beauty in this one is that they don't need to connect the dots very far. There's not a whole lot of generations they have to claim before they get to the the seventh degree. Central Florida's got the perfect argument. They beat the team that beat the two teams in the national championship game. It's just beautiful. It's perfect.
Yeah.
They actually did it on the same field.
Yeah. I mean, you can say, I know that they're very different ball games entirely. We don't get into March Madness and they're like, oh, we would have knocked out Virginia in the first round too. And so, yeah, like you didn't win the national championship. That being said, like they have every reason to celebrate their season. And it's bad when the head coach, Coach Frost, who, isn't anymore, is backtracking and saying, I kind of wish my ring didn't even say national championship. He wished his ring said undefeated season and then it said Peach Bowl champions, but their head coach, and he's saying that would have been a difficult narrative for him to keep up with. So, if your own coach that.
I just have a difficult time because we give false hope. The College Football Playoff Committee now, since they have all the power, gives false hope to the group of five. What I would love the College Football Playoff Committee to actually do in August, this would be their August tour that they would take each year, and they would travel to each group of five program, and they would show up in the middle of two-a-days when these guys are just, throwing up their guts and sweating all over the place and just working so hard. And they would give a speech to the team and say, we appreciate your effort, and you can go out and win every game 50-0, but you have absolutely no chance in hell of winning a national championship or playing in a national championship game. So thanks. We'll see you.
Yeah. Try playing a real conference, play in a real conference, play a game. Then maybe we'll put you in. Oh,
very good. I love the debate, and I still just love the spunk and the audacity to just go ahead and do it.
Were you a fan of the billboard that the fans put up after Alabama won? Did you see that billboard they did?
I'm sure I did at the time, and I probably dismissed it immediately.
Right. They posted that billboard where they were like, hey, Bama trophy, how about a home and home? And I'm like, what are the chances that Bama's going to agree to that? I think. So,
that would be beautiful.
They called them out for it. It's been fun to watch back and forth. Frost said it too. They're so smart because they've kept UCF's name in the media and done immeasurably good things for them in terms of just publicity.
Yeah. And they may never get a chance to do something like this again. Their dream coach has left for Nebraska, the whole coaching staff. I still think that they're going to be a decent team, but
sure.
Shaq Griffin and the whole bunch not necessarily back for another go at it. So it's going to be difficult to maintain this kind of consistency, even playing in a, not a real conference. So,
yeah,
but it's a great conversation. Yeah. Danielle,
Saban said that he thinks there's only even been one undefeated season under his tenure. So it's a really impressive thing to accomplish in the first place. So
I'm glad you bring that up, because when you do bring up Alabama in particular, and they're not the only one, it seems a bit hypocritical for Saban in particular to knock UCF for claiming a championship when we know that these schools down through history have claimed all sorts of championships all over the place. We've been playing college football for roughly 100 years, and if you would count up all the national championships of all the teams, you get like 312 or something, because everybody claims a national championship, and half the time they lost a bowl game or lost two games and they still claim a national championship from 1949.
Being a champion's a state of mind, buy the ring, wear it. Who cares? Yeah. Yeah, we're champions. We have the ring. Yeah, it's a state of mind. Everyone should go through life. I'm a
champion of life. That's the buzzword that's been used. Very good. Well, Danielle, you cover UCLA football. You love UCLA football, and we encourage anybody who loves college football to check out her YouTube channel and also her website. Is it just DanielleAlvari.com?
Yeah, and there's a whole YouTube channel, Danielle Alvari. If you search me, there'll be tons of videos for you. It's hours meaningless content to go through.
Well, that's basically how I describe mine here. So the people watching here will just naturally slide over there and watch more meaningless stuff.
Yeah, they understand.
Let's see if we've got anything interesting on the chat. Now, what typically happens here is that there are like 50 comments and everybody basically just talks about how everybody sucks. That's pretty much the deal here. UCF has earned over $200 million from this parade. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it. That's just
the American Conference is the Power Six. What if Kansas would have gone undefeated in a weak Big 12 conference and played the Mercers of the world in non-conference? Don't really know how to address that. Anyway, I think the one thing Danielle and I can agree on is that UCF was not the best team in the country last year, but I just find it the American way to say, hey, we did all we could. The system affords us no opportunity to do any better. We just beat the team that beat the two #1 teams that played in the national title game. We're the national champion. We're claiming our stake, and we're going to throw up a banner. And it was funny, Danielle, at work that very day that they decided that all this came out, just a few days after the championship. Somebody asked me, what would you do if you were UCF? And I said, oh man, I'd have a banner in the stadium. I'd throw a parade. I'd do the whole deal.
Yeah, why not? Everyone loves it, and everyone wants to back them up because it's Alabama, and everyone loves the underdog. So, like, yeah, give them the ring. They're the national champs.
But Danielle bringing them back down to earth, to reality of their small little American conference and their illegitimate claims of a national championship.
You can buy an engagement ring, make you engaged. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. So again, Danielle Alveri, join her on her YouTube channel. She's got some great content there. Very clever, witty stuff where she breaks down not just college football. She's all over the place, and we're in the midst of the NBA playoffs, so she definitely dives into that too. Any hot takes for us as the Cavs and the Cavs and the Celtics get underway?
Oh, you mean LeBron versus the Celtics?
Yeah, pretty much 5-on-1 deal. Yeah.
I think it's amazing what the Celtics have been able to do, losing 2 star players. I mean, this is a team I'm more excited to watch them next year than I am excited to watch them. I'm already on to next year with them.
So we're watching the NBA Finals right now in the West, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That series. Are we looking for a 4-1, 4-0 final, regardless of who plays for the East?
I don't know. I feel like it's been really unpredictable after this offseason. It's like if LeBron's having a good night or not, or Steph, and there's just so many things that have been happening in the playoffs with players sitting out, back, and so, or getting hurt. Yeah.
So the one thing I will say in watching the second half of last night's game is that the best team in the world's at Golden State, I think, still, and the Rockets get blown out against a championship caliber team that's used to big games. They play in big games all the time. They're used to the pressure, and the Rockets have everything riding on this game. After losing by 41, they're on the road and they pull it out. So I thought that spoke volumes of CP3 and Harden and company.
Yeah, I mean, CP3 was emotional after, and it goes to show how important those games can get, but I mean, speaks to their character. I've never doubted. I mean, CP3's been one of my favorites in the NBA. Harden, how's that guy not Defensive Player of the Year? So, it's hard. I mean, how do you play a team that has 2 NBA MVPs on it? I mean, the Warriors are loaded. So the fact that they're doing what they're doing is really impressive.
People can't believe I'm talking about basketball. Okay, I do watch other sports, people.
No,
all
like,
right. What was that, Danielle?
I said they were like, boo, go back to the football.
Go back to the football. It's a football channel. So UCLA.
Stay in your lane.
Your beloved Bruins. Yes, stay in your lane. I'll try to do that. See, you embarked on talking about everything. So you've got lanes all over the place.
Yes.
That's the way to do it right there.
Exit.
Don't pigeonhole yourself. So it's too late for me. So talking about the Bruins, Another cool thing that you'll see on Danielle's channel is she's out there at spring practice talking to the team on a regular basis. So what kind of interesting conversations did you get into? What kind of vibe did you get from the team in regards to their optimism and how they're responding to Chip Kelly's leadership?
The team is, I mean, there's definitely like new sheriff in town going on. They very much that the stuff that maybe they used to be able to do is not going to be allowed anymore. And not even, what's cool that what I've gotten so far is that Coach Kelly has this vibe of not necessarily making rules, but he makes goals for these kids. And so like, don't you want to achieve this, or expectations over rules more so. So he's not telling them that you can't do this. He's just saying, can you at least do this? And so it puts it in more of a positive light. And these kids are kind of rising to the challenge. A lot of them they all really respect him. He's not an old school coach by any means. He's introducing all this new technology. And I think they're realizing how serious this is. And I think that's great because that prepares the football at the next level. But some of them love it. Some people quit the team. It's the personality fit. That's just the way it rolls. But I think that most of them are excited to have this potential to win more games than they won last year, that they're willing to put in the work and do all the extra stuff now.
Yeah, that's why they're out there. Let's win some more games. Let's go for more than 6. And Chip Kelly's reputation is that he should be able to get that done.
Yeah, get back to beating SC would be nice.
Yeah, well, one step at a time here. Although SC is not going to be anything necessarily invincible this year. They've got their issues and they have things to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a wide open division.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Danielle, anything else? We'll take anything on UCLA. This is a college football channel. That's all we talk all the time. So I will be pinning you down for a prediction near the season. But if you're like me, there's no way you make predictions in May.
No, absolutely not. People are like complaining about this game. And I'm like, of course it wasn't full tempo. You don't play how you're going to play in fall and spring. That's insane. Who would bet? So the only thing that Coach Kelly said about the spring game he didn't expect is there was a safety. And he wasn't expecting there to be a safety. And also a player got ejected in a spring game. Like, well,
in a spring game.
Yeah.
Bringing a little fight to the spring game.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, if you're getting ejected in the spring game, you're not going to make that mistake again in the fall. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. But it would be silly to make a prediction now, especially when you don't even have this #1 quarter or whatever, this big quarterback prospect, DTR, coming in. We don't even know what he's going to look like. Now, Wilton Spite from Michigan came in after he lost to Washington, grad student, and so it's going to be interesting, this quarterback battle, actually, more than anything, because the third string quarterback was actually the quarterback who looked the best at the spring game, Austin Burton. So everyone thought that it was for sure going to go to what's his name?
We got Lynch. And you got Samuels.
No, not Monster. I think.
Devin Monster.
Everyone thought that it was going to go to Monster, but Monster's, I mean, he's a redshirt sophomore, and he stepped in and covered some games for Rosen last year, and so people thought he's the natural fit. But now there's so many quarterbacks in the mix, it's like a true quarterback competition, and who's going to come out on top?
Yeah, and Wilton Spate's an interesting transfer, because if you look at his stats and what he achieved at Michigan, he led a team that finished in the top 10 and played relatively well, but he's not a mobile guy, not a guy that you would consider to be a good fit for a Chip Kelly offense. So I don't know what the thought process was there, but we'll see if he's able to wrestle away the job. All right, Danielle Alvari joining us. Sorry, I think we've got a bit of a delay, Danielle. So this is not me being just overly rude.
Yeah, I was just saying that if I was him, my thought process is get a degree from UCLA.
All right, Danielle, appreciate you stopping by. And you've got to check out her Twitter feed. Again, this is where I got this gem of a debate on the Central Florida situation, and was one I wanted to get after. So, Danielle, we appreciate it. You have a good night.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.